Morning YouTube. Well, as you can imagine, it's a wonderful, he says, Saturday morning in August, and I don't think I've done a review for quite a while now. But the reason for this is because I went to the post office this morning and I picked up, I'm going to show you a piece of it first. And most of you are probably thinking, what the hell is he holding? Yeah. Long story short, it is that. The 5 Voltrons that make, 5 lines that make Voltron up. Now, I got this on eBay. It came through actually yesterday, and I picked it up this morning, like I said. And I am going to have a go at building it. Now, I know that there are plenty of videos up on YouTube of the Voltron toys. Specifically, look at MGO. He does all the toy reviews and etc, etc. My one comes with the sword, as you've just seen, the 5 lions, and inside of each, I assume, because I've only looked at 2 of them, comes a little shuttle like pod thing that the pilots sit in. And actually, I'm going to have a look. Right, so as it turns out, they all do. I'm going to show you quickly, because as you can imagine, there are 5 different colours, 1 for each colour lion, and they all look like this. The only one that's different that I can see is the yellow lion, which looks, that looks like that. But the general gist of it is they all have the same kind of layout, just different colours. So they all look like that. So you got a blue one. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Okay, no, they are all. Yeah, they're all slightly different. I think it's just to correspond with whichever version, obviously, you've got. But the only thing I can find that's the same is everything from about the cockpit, so this blue bit panel down to the back, all looks the same. The front, however, looks different. So, one thing I should point out is that the blue, no, I tell a lie, the green and the red one were supposed to come with additional parts, but I never got them. I'm not overly bothered about not having them, if I'm honest, because they're not actually needed. Although I did have it in the picture, so I'm going to ask the seller about that. No, actually, no, I already have. Just got to wait for the reply. So I'm going to have a go at building it. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Before I start to build Voltron, I'm going to quickly give a squiz over of each lion. So we've got both arms, the main body, both legs, the little cockpit pieces, and then obviously the sword. That bit we can already get rid of because we've already seen them. Actually, before I do, I'm going to turn the barrel on. And the black lion actually has a load of voice, clips that it plays. And when it does,
Voltron is the only thing that can stop Sarkon.
Yeah, its chest obviously lights up.
Let's assemble Voltron and get rid of these Golra. Form Voltron! We need to increase firepower.
Right, so as you can imagine, that goes on for a little while. I haven't been through all of them, but there are meant to be like 50 different ones, so I'm not going to play them all. So, going back to where I started, so like I said, these ports on top of both the green and the red lion were supposed to have basically like cannons. The blue and the yellow one, I think they had them, but that might be a different version of the toy, because I know that there's a you can get the individual ones and they all come with them, so I think I'm getting mistaken with that, but those 2 I know for a fact were meant to have them. So I'm going to have to do this kind of bit in bits. They're actually made of a very good plastic. I put this came actually formed, and I've just dismantled it just to see how it looks. And the general gist of it, they can move around quite, side to side, quite nicely. They can they're fully posable, so the legs will do near enough for full 360. That's the little hatch that the pilot bit goes in. I'm doing this on my phone, by the way. So the pilot little ship goes in that, and then it just seals up. And then the legs fold up into this. The front legs fold up into this bit, so this actually lifts up. Hang on. There you go. So the legs fold up into that, and then the back legs fold up into themselves, into this bit here, and then it's just a case of basically just streamlining it. So the same goes for the green one. The only difference being is that you have to take the shield off, and then the yellow and the blue lines pretty similar. The only difference being is that this bit, the legs fold up into themselves, into this little gap. However, the front legs on here will actually fold forward, so it gives extra stability. And then the black line, the legs fold up into this, and then these ones go straight, and then it all combines together. So I'm gonna shrink them all back down, and then we'll put them together one at a time. Okay, so I've already transformed the red line into its arm form, actually, almost. And I had to go get a screwdriver to go and tighten one bit. So that's what it looks like when it's fully armed. Excuse the pun. One bit to point out is that the legs on here become very, very loose, I suppose, when this covers up. Now, I thought at first it was just because, it was, see? It becomes very, very loose, but that I'm guessing is so it can fit in there. And as you can see, it's a bit fiddly, but you can get the legs in. Let's get a shot. The legs fit inside that bit. I'm trying to do this one-handed. And then they just kind of scrunch up in a way, and then fit in there. And then you close that hatch, and then just make sure everything's tight. And then pop out the connector, and then plonk this shield. The shield is the only part of the only different part of the line, and that is I think it's the left. No, it's the left arm. And one thing I didn't point out was the fact the mouths are all spring loaded, so you can add things like the sword, for instance. There's a shield apparently, which is actually in the cartoon these two joined together, but I have no idea if that actually happens on this, and I have no intention of breaking it to find out. So that's one arm, two arms, and we'll go on to these now. Okay, so I've transformed the legs now. One thing that's handy to have, as you can imagine, is a table to make sure that everything's level. And it's the yellow line was fine. It's the blue line I had trouble with because this bit folds up, and then it's got like a little runner it sits on here, so this bit moves up and down. Whereas this one doesn't. It's just this little red piece that I can't move at the moment. And then what happens is when I transform the black line in a second, the legs go into these flaps on the back of both, as you can see. So they're just little spring-loaded pieces. But that is about as level as I'm going to get them. Right, so so now we've got both arms, both legs, so I'm going to transform the black line. Right, so I've transformed the black line. So, like I said, the arm, there's two little flappy panels here. So the arms just fold up into that. The legs have to be as straight as possible. The only bit I haven't worked out, like I said, is if the shoulder blades come off. I know they rotate, but I don't want to try and take them out on the off chance I'm wrong. So I don't think they do. Anyway, so they actually just, because in the cartoon, like I said, they separate and then they join back together to make one whole shield, which is what these are. And then obviously the sword is separate. The tail doesn't retract into the body like the other ones do. This one just folds up to the back. At the moment, like I said, it's actually quite heavy, this. The whole thing is very, very heavy. I don't quite know how I'm going to do this, if I'm honest. So I might have to do this in picture form, just because it's it's actually quite difficult to do. I'm not going to put the sound on, simply for the fact that, well, actually, I'll give it a go. Right, so, if I'm right, hang on, back in a minute. I just had to look up the picture of the order that it goes in, and it looks like this. Now, this is actually going to be a bit awkward because, like I said, I'm doing this on my mobile, and I'm going to have a go at it. So, with all of Voltron, hang on, that's my bit one. Right, so, like I said, this bit here rotates, I think probably about 180. The legs move up and down, but they don't move far because obviously they've got where they go. And then these arms only move about 180. So we're gonna have a go at this and hope for the best. Yeah, hang on. Right, so we've got one leg on, so we'll do the next one.
Whatever you say, Hero. Great work, team. Sorry, my bad. Separate. Are you great work, team?
Right.
Separation sequence engaged.
Now the problem I've got is like I said, I'm trying to do this one-handed at the moment, and it's really awkward because it wants to fall over. So I might have to do this lying down. And then we connect, so these rods stick out and then they go in. Hang on. I think I've done this bit wrong. That's that way. So, because you have to get this lined up. Hang on.
Sorry, my bad.
Right, I figured it. So, the port has to be this sort of shape. The reason it wasn't going in is because it has to be, it's quite stiff to get in. No jokes, please. So this happens.
I'm on it, Shiro.
And then last but not least, right, one more try.
Lion engaged. Red, green, black, blue, and yellow lions detected. Voltron operational. Voltron complete. Targeting road beast.
And there you go. Now, like I said,
Sorry, my bad.
I'm trying to get it so it balances, but it's really awkward with one hand because I've actually bent the legs out in the wrong way. But it's a work in progress, so I'll put it flat for a minute. Like I said, it's about, well, this bit of card I've got is actually about 16 inches tall, so that's how big this thing is. And here's a little comparison. Here's a bit of A4 paper. So, yep, it's about the width of one. I don't know what that is. Don't know, I'm just guessing at best. It's very, very...
Blue lion, ready for action. Red lion, ready for battle.
Green lion, all systems go.
Yellow lion engaged. Red, green, black, blue, and yellow lions detected. Voltron operational.
Right, that's the full version of what it does.
Let's do it. Key, form sword.
And then it has different ones for when all five are connected.
Pitch, form shield.
My shield can't take much more of this.
We need to increase firepower.
We got you, buddy.
Let's light this thing up. Fire lasers. Now we go on the offensive.
And so on.
Great work, team.
And so on and so forth. Let's turn this on. So, like I said, the full Voltron looks like this. Like I said, it's actually very heavy. Because obviously there's 5 different parts put together. Now, I should point out, I have wanted one of these. I have wanted Voltron since I saw the original when I was a kid. Now, bearing in mind I'm 35, yes, I know you're thinking a 35-year-old man buying toys, but screw it, I want to, and I know people older than me who do it, so whatever. I've wanted one ever since I was a kid, but then when they when they released the new version, as you can imagine, I started hunting around for it, and then I just saved loads of money, and this is the result. So as you can imagine, I'm quite glad. He's very well detailed. Yeah, you can move. That's Voltron's head, which disappears up when the mouth is shut. It actually, oh come on, it's actually two separate pieces. Yep. So when it's just in Black Lion mode, it's like that. But then, so you can see the little access ramp in the mouth. But then when Voltron's formed, it comes down. And it looks like this. So, that is Voltron Legendary Defender, the action figure. Now, like I said, I know this hasn't been the best review. Even I know that. But you try and do this one-handed. Apart from that, I'm going to go and find somewhere to... I'm going to sort out the legs, and then I'm going to find somewhere to display it. So, have a good one. Bye. Just a little added one. I've actually managed to sort out what it is. Basically, he's slightly back heavy. And I'm guessing it's because of these two. But I can't be certain. So you have to have him kind of... that sort of idea, for my one anyway. Unless you're having him pressed up against the wall, then it makes no difference. That's all it is. So I can now attach the sword somehow. I'm just put it in that hand. So just imagine it looking awesome like that. Right, now I'm off. See you later.